invite Amit Desai, Senior Director of Business from Clear. Please welcome him on stage with a huge round of applause.
All right, so I will try to keep it short. And before we go, just to answer, I think a lot of the questions that I see are basically, I think the domain stuff. I think all of you who are sitting here are experts, and I think you will find some way or the other basically to address those domain related queries. But there are a lot of data related questions, like just the sir just asked how basically you can go directly into the GSTN portal and extract the data. So I'm sure that sir has one, and there are certain workarounds and all that stuff. But data has been the center of the thought process of the not only the tax teams but finance function as a whole, right? So it is kind of a petrol, it is kind of a fuel for all of us, right? And therefore there is a different approach that we need to take with compliances, okay? And I'll give you the reason for why do we need to take different approach, right? When you see the acts of the government, right? They are going in a certain direction, right? And what direction could that be? So that direction we all feel is basically trying to encroach upon our data sets, trying to encroach upon our visibility, trying to encroach upon what kind of business we are in, encroach upon what are we defaulting at, and trying to find the small lacunas, right? But that's not it. Or in fact, that is not the intention of the government at all, right? So what could be the intention of the government? Anybody? Anybody here? What could be the intention of the government, be it GST, be it TDS, be it any kind of compliance, be it LODR somebody mentioned, right? Be it any kind of compliance, what do you think government is looking to solve the purpose? Anybody, guys? Super, right? So we all agree that government is trying to maximize revenue क्योंकि देश चलाने के लिए पैसा लगता है, right? So they have a greater cause of nation building, right? So देश चलाने के लिए पैसा लगता है, वो पैसा कहाँ से आएगा, right? The only way or the majority way in which they will fulfill this purpose is through taxes, right? Yeah, we are on the same page, right? And when that happens, and that happens at the scale of India, right? You imagine that everybody has to pay taxes, but only 2% of the people pay taxes. Imagine the plight, right? So we are at, government is thinking that I want to collect taxes, which is my maximum revenue, right? And only 2% guys are paying taxes. Same is happening with the entire long tail of enterprise businesses, right? There are businesses, we all come from very solid background of companies, right? We are very fortunate that we have been employed with such companies and they are doing their due diligence. But we are seeing that the cost of compliance is kind of going, in some cases I've seen that cost of compliances, including when you talk about the litigation, is going higher as compared to just basically doing compliances, right? The cost of compliances is higher than being non-compliant, right? So when such is the case, and when the government's purpose is basically to maximize the revenue, right? So what will government do? What will government do? And what will government do at scale, right? We are not a nation where there is a couple of crores population, right? And couple of thousands of industries. No, we are not, right? So what would government do? Government would adopt technology, right? Imagine you sending your data, right? And you are sending your data to the government real time in terms of e-invoicing and e-waybill. And you are sending your data every month, twice, every quarter in terms of TDS, annual, and so on and so forth, right? So much of data you are sending, your supply chain is sending, and entire India's organizations are sending. And imagine without technology what would happen, right? So government understood that putting in the technology is the first place to start with. Right? It is the first place to start with, and government has made it the core, right? Now look at ourselves. Have we as enterprises made technology core of our compliances? Hand on hearts, have we actually made it technology based? Until and unless we actually do that, do you think we can ever catch up? All of us, including the vendors like us, are playing a catch up game, isn't it? All of us are playing catch up game. Kyun? Why is that? The reason is that government is way ahead because they have thought about it, and they have thought about a 20-year plan long before, right? And they are going to automate, put in technology, put in AI to make sure that they are going to maximize tax revenue, right? So this is the meta picture, okay? Now what I would want to do basically in this next 10-15 minutes is basically give you a direction in which you should not play a catch up game but get ahead of the curve in terms of technology, okay? If one thing that you can take away from my presentation is how do we get ahead of the curve in terms of what government is doing, I think the larger purpose is solved. So I'm not here to basically sell anything. I would want you to basically look at what technologies would you adopt so that you will go ahead in the curve, what government is thinking, how government is thinking, and how you can basically make sure that your cost of compliances reduces drastically. Got it? Okay. All right. So this has been the trajectory of organizations, right? So if you see on the extreme left, we started with paperwork, then Excel, then some kind of point product tools. But now we are here, right? Now we are in the age where a lot of people say AI is going to eat our jobs and all. But just to give you a glimpse, what is AI? So if there is an input, there is a logic and it gives output, right? So let's say A is the input, then there is a logic and B is the output. What earlier the code did was basically it created that logic, right? What your all ERP teams are doing for you, right? So when all your technology teams, what they are doing at this point of time is they are creating logics inbuilt in your SAPs, in your ERPs, in your middlewares and throwing data to you, right? So they are creating logics and logics falter. Why? Why would logic falter? Because laws change, right? Because documentation type changes, right? There are ways, and there is also a human error, right? Of course, IT guys are not, they are after all humans, right? They are after all humans. So given this logic layer which is there in between, this is about to falter. Now what AI does is, it removes this logic layer. Okay, what it does is, it typically removes this logic layer, and what it does is, it gets, if you give it an A input, which we earlier had, it will give you output. So given A, you will automatically get B. Okay, and what it enables is, this is a very small thing, right? Logic layer removed. What AI does is very simple, logic layer it removes, and given A, the next step should be B. This is all it does. This is all it does. Okay. Now what happens with this? Let's say if you give it 1 pixel, if you give it 1 pixel, it can create next pixel, that next pixel can create next pixel, and those pixels can go into crores, and there goes an image. There blows up a video, right? So with minuscule of inputs, you can generate lots and lots of data which is usable to you, right? In your parlance, basically, I'll move forward. In your parlance, there are enough data risks that AI can actually solve. The technology, AI chhod do, let's remove that abused word, the technology can solve, right? We all know that you are reporting up. The reporting requirement is so huge that I told you that there is real-time data, there is quarterly data, monthly twice, supply chain ka pura data ja raha hai, right? So there is always a data overload on you, right? Because you need to not only reconcile your company's data, but your supply chain's data as well, right? So there is a lot of data overload, right? Can your teams manually do that? It is impossible. It is impossible to do that, and if your teams are doing it, I really empathize, right? This is not possible. This is burning the midnight oil on Saturdays and Sundays is not how the work is done, right? When the technology is already available. The next bit is, of course, when you are doing manual intervention, it is prone to a lot of human errors, and government keeps on throwing things like IMS, things like TDS2 is going to come, Labour Code 2.0 is going to come, and so on and so forth, right? And where will it stop? Where will it stop? Right? It will not stop, by the way. ठीक है? क्योंकि बहुत लंबी जर्नी है, 2% से गवर्नमेंट को 90% तक जाना है. ठीक है? So the journey is too long and this is going to happen, keep on happening, right? And there is of course a real-time reporting as said, right? So, until and unless there is a core technology at work, we will not be able to solve the compliance problem. I'll repeat, until and unless there is a core technology at work, we will not be able to solve the compliance problem. Now, what has happened with the technologies that we have used till now? We have used technology, ERP is there with you, right? Has it solved the problem? Of course it has not solved the problem, and the reason I'll tell you is, most of you have SAPs, most of you have Oracles, most of you have Microsofts, right? And what are these companies? Indian companies. What do you think SAP India in their revenue list, what number does it come? Any answers? In SAP's revenue list, where does India come? Any guesses, guys? Any guesses? Take any random shot. What is the ranking order of revenue contribution of India in SAP's revenue? कोई बताएगा? Number 1? 10 to 15, it is 40. What? 40. Why would SAP, why would a Microsoft develop a compliance segment for you guys? They won't. But agar US ka aa raha hai, so they will have to do that, right? Because it is number 1 contributor. If Germany does that, they'll have to do that. And that's what they have been doing. So compliance, as we see it, the India and the government is evolving. The ERPs are not going to solve your compliance problem. Please take that as an underlying statement. First was technology at core has to be there, and you have to see a lens of the technology where if ERP is going to solve the problem, the answer is no. Are you guys with me? Okay. Now what happens then? So what happens is there are like multiple systems now. There is not only your ERP, but there is NIC, there is TDS, there is GSTN, there is ITR. Organizations with only one IT system which is called as ERP are afraid of implementing. Here we have 4 systems, 5 systems, and notices comes through I don't know how many portals. Even I don't know, right? So what do we do? So what you should look at is basically a kind of a tax ERP for your solutions, right? And what is tax ERP? Why? What does your ERP do? What does your ERP do is basically give you control, give your management control, give your management visibility, and so on and so forth, right? So what this tax ERP would give is basically a visibility of entire tax platform, be it whatever kind of compliances you are doing, be it direct taxes, be it indirect taxes, be it LODRs, be it secretarial compliance, right? So this is the kind of technology that you should head towards, and it should be always in sync with your ERP, right? So there is one ERP which is your internal ERP, and because the compliance domain has become so huge, the reporting requirements have become so huge, so you'll have to have a ERP of tax which will interact with all these ERPs and bring the data to you and make sure that it is compliant with your books. This is the requirement. This is your requirement of technology piece that you should opt for. I'm not saying you opt for me, you opt for anybody, but this is a guiding principle of how you should look at technology, right? Somebody told here litigation. So let's come back and see why the litigation happens, right? So how can we reduce incidences of litigation, right? Government will work in their own superior ways, but we have to equip ourselves through technologies so that we make sure that such incidences go lower and lower, and that will happen only through technology. When you look at the technology as a platform, as a ERP, which will give you entire consolidated data at one go, right? And what happens with that consolidation is, now tax teams usually don't create any data, do they? They create, but it's a juggling of data, it's a transformation of data, right? But do they create any own data? All the data is basically created by F&A teams, payables teams, billing teams, so on and so forth, right? And we are like downstream. When we are at downstream and we don't have control of what they are doing, what we can at least do is, with this kind of a platform, basically show mirror to them. Basically show a mirror to them in terms of where have they gone wrong. What we are currently doing, we are currently living with their data, whatever they have generated, whatever mistakes they have done, and we are trying to basically juggle with that data, correct that data ourselves, and that is again not reflecting in your ERP, right? Can you imagine the plight of the teams, right? So for this, what we have done is basically introduced a platform which is called GL Streams. Why it is called GL Streams is basically it is connected with your raw GL data, and after getting that raw GL data, you have to do nothing. Everything right from transformation of data to be it TDS portal, be it GSTN portal, be it NIC portal, we will take care of everything, right? So this is just a glimpse. So what we want to do is, this is the ERP and this is what we call as GL stream, right? And this GL stream, because we are using your native ERP data in terms of GLs, and we do not want to load you the transformation, which is basically what I called in AI, the logic layer was removed, right? I said that logic layer was removed. I am removing the logic layer here. You do not have to depend on your IT teams. Can you imagine that? You don't have to depend on your IT teams now to tell them कि SRPR कैसे बनाना है, right? That responsibility is on AI, is on this platform, right? Which will basically detect, which will automate and prevent, detect in the terms of whatever errors are there, be it AP team, be it accounting team, be it general voucher mein koi entry or deficit, whatever that detection is there, it will detect, it will try to correct it with AI, right? And then we will try to prevent it, and this is a global platform. This does not have only India, this is global. This is global we are creating, because tax problems are same usually, right? So this is the kind of platform that you should look at. I'll move ahead. I think we covered this. Okay, one more thing is, this is very important. Suite of agents, you have seen a lot of agents. I think there are two kinds of labors now. Of course, we are form of white labor, whatever you call it, white collar labor, blue collar labors and so on and so forth. But there will be one more category of labors. Can anyone tell me that? What kind of category of labors would that be? It would be digital labors. Can you beat that? With AI, the digital labors are going to compete with us, right? So how we can basically enable and get those digital labors to work for us is basically what we need to start thinking, and that we have already started thinking. So just to give you an example, if there is a workflow, for example, if there is a GST1 form reporting, what all steps that you need to do so that the incidences of notices are minimum, that AI is going to tell your teams. That AI is going to tell your teams that you have not done, let's say, third step, you have missed the third step, and therefore you have to go back and do the third step. And if that third step is not done and you're directly jumping to fourth step, there will be a communication or an exception which will be going to you, right?
We know finance leaders like
short
you
video.
want control and assurance, not compliance headaches. You have all the data in your general ledger. Yet, 80% of enterprises are struggling to get assurance that their compliance data is accurate. This is because of a lack of tools and time. What happens then is that inaccurate reports are generated from multiple general ledger tables, creating a loop of endless data transformation. What you need in compliance is control and assurance. Large spreadsheets take forever to load, wasting valuable time. Even worse, they might crash, setting you back even further. Filing ITC claims notices are either inaccurate, blocked, or increased. Your teams are tired, frustrated with burning eyes and aching backs.
There's a GST audit coming up. I'm worried that my turnover and tax as per my financials and returns do not match. And I don't know the reasons for this gap yet. Also, I don't know the risk I'm carrying.
I'm on the verge of finalizing my 3P for the month, but I don't know if my team has expensed out all the ineligible ITC. I'm worried I don't want to overclaim my ITC.
I have to finalize my monthly TDS payment, but I'm not sure if the TDS advances, provisions and credit notes have all been correctly reported in my TDS return, or I have to correct my previous TDS return.
I have just finished filing my GST and TDS returns for the month, but my team tells me that they had to make some changes in the sales register, purchase register and TDS while filing. I'm worried that those changes will get missed in the ERP.
Let us show you how you can do this, actually from your general ledger, directly every day. Introducing GL Stream, the groundbreaking technology designed to power the future of finance. Now, stream your GLs for compliance. Your GL streams to us, so you can do a revenue GL versus SR recon and identify the reason for gaps such as deferred revenue, journal vouchers, unbilled revenue, and intra-company stock transfers. Your GL streams to us. You can run recon between GST purchase register and expense ledgers and identify for which expenses you have a mismatch. You report your tax liability correctly with this. No Excels, final answer. Your GL streams to us. We can automatically extract all TDS reversal entries for set-off and reporting in TDS returns for corrections. Your GL streams to us. You can tally your books with SR and PR at any point in time to ensure there is an alignment in your books, return data and data with government. Take complete control. Get assured compliance even before monthly book closure with GL Stream. You evolve as your business evolves instantly. Clear Finance Cloud for compliance. Supercharged with GL Stream. Peace of mind for...
Okay, so I think team here is saying that my time is up, but I think I have delivered what I had to. If there are any questions, me and my team would be happy to answer all your queries. We have a small booth, and you can also basically, what we are offering here is basically a free process benchmarking where we can assess your processes and give you a report. So if you want to do that, please come to our booth, register yourself, and thank you. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Thanks, Amit, for the wonderful session.